Hey everyone, Data007, and welcome to another list. It's a top 6 list of what I consider to be the worst comic book, superhero game, or just comic book based games ever, at least thus far, at least in my opinion. So, given the usual warning, don't agree with some of my choices, please do not be rude. In fact, I'd love to see what your list would be. Alright, let's begin. Number 6, Green Lantern. Now the movie, while not the best, I feel it's one of the most underrated movies. But the game, however, is just easy throughout most of it, and it's just really repetitive. That's pretty much the problem with it, being too repetitive. Number 5, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. Obvious one here. Now, people may argue because this is a movie adaptation, but there have been some good Batman games in the past. This one really fell hard. Sorry. For one, the graphics are crap. They look like something that would come off on the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis. I really wouldn't mind that but this was the N64 and the PlayStation. The graphics wouldn't even be a big problem if there weren't so many other issues. For one, the controls are just bad. Like, the attack setup makes everything feel slow. Like, you could not really attack while moving. You have to be standing completely still. Well, and another thing, not to mention what makes it hard, is because someone else could be attacking you while you're beating up the other person. And not to mention it's really slow. So, and another thing I ought to point out is Batman's gadgets are pretty much useless in this game, and the same soundtrack song plays repeatedly throughout the entire game. Number 4, The Crow City of Angels. Horrible game, horrible movie. Or should I say that the other way around? Never mind. The Crow City of Angels, I've played all versions and they are just horrible. Now, alright, so I'd say the PC version graphically looks decent. I'd say the Saturn is probably the best looking, but the PS1 is the worst looking. It's very grainy, very unpolished. And all of them have a really huge problem. Is the hit detection. You could throw like several punches, trying to hit with a knife or throw it, or just use a gun, and you could do it several times, and only a couple hits will land on them. That's the main problem in this game, is just the hit detection. Number 3, Spawn the Eternal. Now, Spawn, as far as I know, has made 4 games, but only 2 of them are actually good. In my view, Spawn and Demon's Hand for the Dreamcast is the best, while Spawn Armageddon comes in second place. That one had problems with being too repetitive, but it was better. And the first one for the Super Nintendo, Spawn the video game, it had its own problems, but I've learned to forgive that one over time. This one, unfortunately, I'll never forgive. For one, the graphics are horrible. Well, It has grainy textures, and now that won't be a big problem if there weren't so many other problems. For one, the camera is just horrible. It lags behind you, can't keep up with you. You know, the combat is too simplistic. The jumping mechanics suck. The controls are retarded and broken. Like, sometimes when you want to perform a special move, a lot of the time it will not register, and the jumping mechanics can be a pain to deal with. But despite all this, it is still too easy. Hey. So anyway, go with Spawn and Demon's Hand or Spawn Armageddon. They're much better. Number 2, Superman 64. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of complaints saying, why isn't this at number 1? Actually, there is one I actually hate more. And so, anyway. Okay, what is there not to say? The controls are laggy, oversensitive, hard to control. The graphics look absolutely lacking. It is not very polished in any state. And the AI is completely broken. The fighting mechanics are. The fighting move looks rather stupid. Not to mention this game can be very brutal. Because there are sometimes when you have to fly through rings and they barely give you enough time, so there's no time for messing up. And it's just terrible game. Avoid it at all costs. And number 1. Now, what could be number 1 on this list? Well, there is one game I hate more, and for a number of different reasons, and that is Batman Gotham City Racer. Hey, sir. This game is horrible. The controls and handling are just so bad. You'll be running into every other wall, and plus the graphics are very, very lackluster. They look like Bubsy 3D graphics in a way. Now, the graphics wouldn't be a huge problem if the gameplay wasn't so bad. It's not a bad concept in any way, where all you do is drive from cutscene to cutscene, but the controls kill the game. Do you want to know how bad these things can screw you over? You'd be chasing a villain, and keeping up with them is already a big enough pain. But when you finally, and if you crash into a wall and you finally get yourself back into position and going the right way, your target's already long gone, and there's no way you'll catch up. Like if you're chasing Two-Face, you might as well just restart the stage because you're not going to catch up. But not everything about this is bad, though. No, you just drive from cutscene to cutscenes. The cutscenes, I believe, are used from the New Adventures of Batman, I believe, the cartoon. They're using it as a story. That's all in good, but the gameplay concept was good. But the thing is, the controls killed it for me. And that's why I believe this is worse. The worst superhero game thus far. Well, everyone, what do y'all think about this? That's it for now. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.